Hello everybody, welcome. I'll be starting on a recent community challenge that we started in the console group for KSP. It's called the Chronicle series, and this is Chronicle's Alpha. And the whole game plan for this, let me pull it up because I have trouble remembering all of this, but Chronicle Alpha, it's a 2-chapter series for the beginning of this challenge. Chapter 1 is the Kerbin Space Comms Network, and in this episode I'm planning to try to knock out as much as Chapter 1 as possible, which is building a modular space station in low Kerbin orbit with a minimum of 3 launches with a bit of an eccentric orbit. Probably going to put it at a degree of inclination of about maybe 60 degrees or so. Objective 1 is to build the modular space station in LKO with a minimum of 3 launches. Primary scoring is number of launches, more equals better. Secondary scoring is Kerbal capacity, more equals better. Bonus scoring for the recovery of any stages used and the complexity of everything involved. There are 3 objectives. The second one is send Kerbals to the space station. Primary scoring, number of Kerbals sent in 1 launch. Secondary scoring, don't use the KSC launch site. So you can use the KSC launch site for building the initial modules for the station, but after that you can't use the KSC. I mean, you can, but you won't get any secondary scoring points. And the bonus scoring is if you make it an SSTO for sending the Kerbals to the space station in the second objective. And the final objective for Chapter 1 is what's called VIC, V-I-K, Very Important Kerbal, sending one to visit the space station and then returning that Kerbal back to the KSC. And primary scoring, if the design of the vessel is kind of like luxurious, that's the primary score criteria. Then the secondary scoring criteria or prereq is not using the KSC launch site for the launch, but you need to return them to the KSC after you get them up there. Bonus scoring for using an SSTO for that. I'm going to go over Chapter 2 real quick, but I doubt I'm going to get to Chapter 2 in this stream. Howdy. Chapter 2, the objective is, of course, for the Kerbin Space Comms Network. Place modular communication satellites around Kerbin. Primary scoring is separation accuracy for the separation of the communication network. Secondary bonus scoring for the first objective in Chapter 2 is the recovery of the stages used to launch the communication satellites around Kerbin. There are 2 more objectives. The second one is to launch automated vessel to the KSS with spare satellite modules. Primary scoring for that one is number of modules launched. Secondary scoring, don't use the KSC launch site. Bonus scoring is the recovery of the stages used for the launch and the complexity of everything involved. And the final objective for Chapter 2 is to send a Kerbal from the KSS to a KSCN, Kerbal Space Comms Network, for repair work, and then return them to the KSS. Primary scoring for that one is number of modules replaced. Secondary scoring, number of satellites quote-unquote repaired. Bonus scoring for using robotics. Alright, so let's get to Chapter 1, Objective 1, which is building the modular space station in LKO with a minimum of 3 launches. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new if I can think straight, a new sandbox file. In order to take place in this with our console community, which you can do either on the Facebook group or it has been shared with the Reddit group, and you can join the Reddit group's Discord or join us on Facebook. But in order to do this, you need to start a sandbox file, and then let's go to the options. I'm going to quickly change the flag. I'm going to use the C7 Aerospace Division for this one. Go to the options, go to the difficulty. You can pretty much have these however you want. There's no limit on allowing the reverting of flights. I'm going to turn that off. I am going to allow quick loading though. I'm going to keep the missing crew respawns on and lower that down to 1 hour just in case of cracking. If not, if they die, they die. Other than that, the ones that are required, we need to have enable the comm network turned on. And then I'll get on here and do the rest that are required, which is disabling the extra ground stations. You have to turn that off, and you have to require signal for control and turn on plasma blackout. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. Me being an admin of the group with the rest of the admins, we're taking part in this, most of us are, but we're not going to be a part of the placing. Like, we're just doing it for, you know, purely inspirational reasons and just to have fun. Everybody else in the group gets to actually take part in the placing and the competition itself. And a lot of us have, like, kind of been in agreement that we're going to enable Kerbal experience, part pressure limits, part G-force limits, Kerbal G-force limits, and all that good stuff. So that's basically the settings. Just to run that by one more time, you must have the comm network enabled, and you must have the ground stations disabled, plasma blackout on, and signal for control on. The rest, free reign, do what you want. But there's the way I'm going to have this set up, and I'm going to go ahead and start. Whoops, need to change all that again real quick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, done. Just need to name it real quick. I'm going to name it after the series, the Chronicle Alpha. Alright, then we can get underway. And I'm not sure if anybody is aware of this, but there's a very historic and special launch happening today with SpaceX and NASA, and they are going to be blasting off here in about an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm only going to keep this down to about an hour for the episode time. So yeah, there's that. And what I'm planning to do is build a booster stage that is SSTO rated and recoverable. I'm going to be using a powered engine assisted landing with parachutes for backup just in case, because it is going to be a little more difficult the way I have the settings set up. But I'm going to try to send at least 3 modules out into orbit for the station and build it in this episode, and then in the next one I'll do objectives 2 and 3 probably, which is sending Kerbals to the space station and the very important Kerbal visit to the KSS and returning that very important Kerbal back to the KSC. So let's get started. Need to build a SSTO orbital launch stage for deploying the KSS modules. Right, alright, so let's get to it. Of course, it's going to be drone powered. It's going to be interesting though. Without the extra ground stations enabled, it's going to be very hard to maintain communication. And then plasma blackout, I don't know. I honestly may want to make this manned, like a manned vessel. It's going to be pretty difficult. Okay, let's try to figure this out. Let's see. Is there anything I can do to make this a land or a manned vessel? I can put the Mark II lander can on top, and it will be assisted since the Kerbal the experience enabled. They're all going to be completely unleveled and completely incapable. So it'd probably be best to keep this assisted by that remote guidance unit. Let's get rid of this, put that back on, and then put that under that. That way the lander can is the primary route for this. There we go. And this has a wheel in it, so I'm going to set it to heaviest as well. Alright, fun time. Let's see. Need to make sure that this is good to go before I add the booster staging to it. Let's see, what am I going to need on this besides chutes and stuff like that? Not going to get into the utility parts yet. No cargo is needed, no science is needed. Communications, that's a bit necessary, so I'm going to add some of those on here. Let's see, put these on radial 6, that looks good. Hopefully those don't burn up on re-entry or anything. Should be fine. But the question is, are those combinable? And I don't think they are. They are not, so it's kind of worthless, to be honest. It'd be kind of nice to have combinable ones that won't burn up, making re-entry. Alright, so if there's ever a blackout moment due to the plasma blackout, I'll lose prograde, retrograde, and all that, the locking ability, but I'll still have control thanks to the Kerbin, or Kerbins, on board. So I'm just going to go without the communication for now. Going to need some batteries. I'm going to put a couple of these on here. Put those, say, here. Put a couple of those, radial 2, that should be good. And I'm going to use 4 of these to maintain power. I'm going to clip all that in because aesthetics, it's not really going to matter that they're clipped in, so no big deal. And that'll take care of my power needs for now. And let's see. Not going to worry about the thermal stuff. Not quite yet. We're going to need the air brakes though, but we'll get to that. We'll get to the aerodynamics once we start building the lift stage itself. Let's see. Do need to build the payload before we build the launch stage. We'll get to that. Is there anything else for this specifically that I need to put onto it? Maybe a control wheel. So I'm going to put one of those here. Make sure that's... I'm going to need some RCS. Let's place some RCS then. Let's place that, I'm going to put them here, radial 4, that should be good. Let's get some RCS fuel in there, some monopropellant. I'm going to radial 4 these so I have about 200, and then I'm going to clip those into it. That'll give me a couple hundred units of monopropellant, which should be okay. We'll find out. Alright, now for the payload. Let's go up here, go to structural parts. Let's get this Rocco Max brand adapter, place it up here. After I get that placed, I'm going to strut it and grab a docking port. Actually, I need to put payload fairing under there, and then we'll build it after we build the payload. Ejection force, maybe 411 will be okay. Let's put it, the clamshell deploy with 2 sides. Looking good, just need to strut it up. There we go. And then we can place this back on here and put that docking port on there. Now, to build the first space station module. Doing it this way, that way it has the docking port ready on whatever I put on, so that it can be built onto. Alright, now, first module is going to be the most important one. It's going to be for housing the crew. So I'm going to put a hitchhiker storage container there. That'll be my first module that I send up, and I need to put everything it's going to need on there. Let's so docking will be a little easier to see and all that good stuff. That should be good. Alright, now let's put some up here as well. I'm going to put a docking port up top as well. As soon as I get this placed. Let's bring these in. Bring those in a little bit as well. When I turn those on, it should definitely light up the docking port just fine. And then we're going to need, let's go run down the numbers here, make sure we have everything that we're going to need on it. Going to need some communication parts. Going to kind of get the leg up on the relay network a little bit by placing some of these on. I'm going to place them where the windows are, because who needs to be able to look out the windows anyways, right? I'm going to put them radial 2 there, strut those up, and then clip those in until it starts to go in too far, like that, and then clip it back out once. That looks good. Alright, now that takes care of the communications. Let's get the batteries on here. It's probably only going to need like 600, but just to be safe, I guess I may as well go with 800. So let's Place the batteries here. We'll radial to those and then clip those in. Groovy. Alright, now for the power. I'm a big fan of nukes. They're great, but for this one I'm just gonna go with some solar panels. Place those 1, 2, 3 spots over, radial 4. And just in case of any destruction, I'm gonna place some redundant panels on here. I'll place them somewhere to where they won't be in the way. Actually, let's put those here and then move these down to about here. That'll be good, because the next thing I need to do, skipping through all these because I won't need any of these, will be having RCS. I'll put them radial 4 here and radial 4 here for plenty of thrustability and control. I did just remember something else that needs to be done here as well, though. Need to grab this, move it up, put a inline stabilizer here, and then reattach that after I put a probe core on it as well. So I'm a very redundant person who likes to have a bunch of contingency plans, so there's some backup. It's going to have something to be able to control it, because this is just a headshot storage unit. So that should be good now. If I turn these on, is that still going to light up nicely? Yes it is. Okay, groovy. Alright, so now we just need some monopropellant fuel in here. I'm gonna put these in at radial 2. That'll give 100 units of monopropellant fuel. Should be plenty to play around with whenever having to connect these modules. That should be everything that this is gonna need. So let's find out though, just in case. Let's name this KSS module 1. And if I set the root to that, I can detach it from here and then check this. Empty crew empty crew cabin, and that's it, so that's fine. Alright, now let's keep the route the way it is. Actually, I want it to stay that way. Everything else is still checking out. Now we just need to build the payload fairings. Let's do that now. We need to bring it out to where it's beyond the relay dish there, and then bring it up. Bring it up to about here. I can close it up to about there. That looks good. Alright, so now to build the launch stage. It needs to be an SSTO and it has to be recoverable. How to do this though? First things first, I need to strut that up to the payload. So let's grab some struts. Go up here, radial 8 that. And place it about there. It should be fine. Looking good. That should be enough strutting to maintain stability there. Now, probably need to put another one of those on there, just in case. Maybe even a third one, to be honest. Now, let's see. Let's put some... Where are they? Where are they? Are they way up here? Passed right by them, didn't I? Air brakes. I'll put some air brakes on this thing. Let's go 1, 2, 3 over. Find a good spot to place these where they look okay. You know what? I think that'll be fine. Put them radial 4 there. Strut those up. Looking good. Alright. Parachutes. I'll worry about the chutes whenever it's time to test this thing. Is there anything else I need to add before I need to start building that? Nope. Alright, let's start building that. Alright, what's our mass at? 9.8 tons. Needs 98.62 kilonewtons of thrust so far. So we have a lot of room to work with here. Let's use the jumbos. Let's get that on here. I think we can put maybe one more. Still be okay. Kinda curious though. What would a Kerbodyne Mastodon engine give us right now? 2,724 meters per second of delta V. That's nowhere near enough. Need way more than that. Let's raise raise this up. Get some room here. And copy that. Put it there. Put that back on. Now, what are we looking at? 3,665. It's almost going to be enough, but still not quite enough. I don't believe. So, I need to add a little bit more fuel here, probably. It's going to be a little dicey. Let's go with a X216. See what that gives us. It's going to put us over 100 tons. Oh, almost, but still under 100 tons. 3,818. I think we can add more. I'm going to get rid of this. Place this one on there instead. Now, what are we looking at? Almost 4,000 meters per second of delta V. I have a good feeling. I have a bad feeling too, because this thing is pretty large. It's going to be crazy on re-entry, but I think we're going to go for it. Let's get some air brakes and put those down here. 1, 2, 3. Place some radial 4. Strut those up. Now, to figure out how many shoots this is going to take, this is going to be wild. Alright, let's do a double layer of radiating times 3 around this thing. We'll put those down here. Strut those up. It's going to be a lot of parachutes, just to be safe. Need to test it before I do anything, of course, but we'll see how this goes once we're done building it. Let's put those there. Copy. Rotate. Copy. Rotate. And then just double that up. Placing them here. Copy. Rotate. Place. Copy. Rotate. Now for the main chutes. Place those here. Strut them up. Grab them again. Copy. Rotate. Copy. Rotate. Probably gonna need to double those up too. I'm just trying to be as safe as possible. 1, 2, and 3. Because it is gonna be a manned vessel. Because I'm worried about the plasma blackout and all that. That should take care of it though, I'd say. I just need to separate all the main chutes from the drogue chutes and then set up the staging. And I do need to eyeball some landing gear. So I'll take care of that after I'm done with this. And let's get the engine down here. And then payload fairing here. Drag these up above the drogues. Update the save. And now I just need to take care of the landing gear, and that should be it outside of a little bit more aerodynamic work. Let's find a good place for these to somehow get this to work. 4's probably not going to be enough, but oh well. Let's deploy those shielded that way. I can still deploy them once they're clipped in. See if it's going to be possible to even clip these in with such a large engine. It's going to need to be at least like down that low, and then I'll have to clip them in. It's going to look rough. It's going to be weird. I don't think that's going to be good. Oh, I don't think I can do the landing gear unless I do like, I don't know. It's going to be weird if I add some, I don't know, it's not going to work. I'm just going to go to the aerodynamics and then test this thing. Let's get the overlays up. And basic fin should do it. If not, yeah, basic fins are okay. Let's place those nice and low. There we go. Oh yeah, and almost forgot. Need more RCS fuel. Let's grab that. Place that in here. How's that Delta V looking? Man, that's rough. let's clip that in, and then put some RCS on here, on the bottom. There we go. Alright, so that takes care of the top and the bottom on the RCS. I really hope that's going to be enough to get this thing into orbit. Very questionable though. Let's get the launch stability enhancers on here. Not sure where to place those. I guess they will clear the air brakes, so I'll put them here with the center of mass. Hopefully that'll be okay. And need to lower the vessel down to the ground. Looking good. Alright, of course the delta V is gonna go up slightly the higher we go, so that, I don't know, I guess it might be okay, we'll find out. Let's update the save, and it's time to test this thing. I want some action group action going on here though. Let's set a custom action group for these. That should be the only action group that I need to set. Now, I'm mostly just trying to test the ability of this thing to land before I stick a Kerbal in it, so I'm gonna launch it without a Kerbal. I'm gonna first test it to see if, I don't know. Honestly, no, I don't know. Need to test and see if it can make orbit. Need to test and see if it can land. And then I can do the actual mission itself and start deploying the modules. I guess the first thing I'm going to do is see if it can... Well, I can do both. I can try to do both. I'm not sure if it'll maintain communication ability or not doing both, but that looks good. Let's just give it a shot. Let's test it and see how it goes. Let's go full throttle and launch. Nice and slow creep there off the launch pad. Alright, if I'm gonna try to go for like a 60-degree inclination, well, I want it to be more northern geared than southern geared, so I'm not gonna go for 60. I am gonna go for like about a 115-degree inclination. I just can't wait to find out if this thing is actually capable of making orbit, then deploying the module, and then returning. It needs to have enough fuel to make it through the entry burn, and then the parachute should be able to take over from there. I don't know if it's going to have enough delta V to make orbit though. That's the problem. Due to the payload size and all that, but let's go ahead and start turning. Should be okay. Thing is, it's gonna need more delta V, I think. So I don't know if this will be SSTO rated or not. We'll find out. Almost through the lower atmosphere. Once it gets up to that higher atmosphere, it'll have 1500 kilonewtons of thrust ability, which will help out, but I'm still iffy on if this is going to be SSTO rated. Alright, let's see what we're looking at. Apple apps, it should be around like 30,000 by now. Let's let that climb. Really running out of fuel pretty quickly here. And I got it backwards. I should have aimed at the 60 instead of that. Well, looks like it's going to be going more southern. That's okay. Let's extend this out to, say, 100,000 or 100 kilometers. Once it's out there, I'll cut the engine, and we'll take it from there. Maybe about 101,000 or so, just to be sure. It's only got 665 meters per second of delta V left. I don't think it's going to be able to do it. If I deploy the fairings, it should be okay. Question is, are you going to maintain communication ability or not? That's going to be another big thing. The RCS may actually be able to finish the orbit of the module. As long as I can deorbit the landing stage and get it through the deorbit process, the chute should be able to take care of the rest. This is very Let's go ahead and do a little time warp action. Oh, did it just a moment too soon. Let's cancel that. Come on, there we go. Yeah, give me about 25 seconds or so upon arrival. It's gonna have to reorient back to the prograde mark, of course, but that's okay. I'm gonna do it manually to get it on that horizon mark. Whoa, 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 whoa. Very quickly, though. There. Alright, let's give it a shot. Just need to keep an eye on that delta V. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be anywhere near enough. It's going to need probably about 500 more meters per second of delta V. Let's get it up to, or down to at least 100 meters per second there. And then we will deploy the payload. See how the communication ability looks. Let's get the solar panels, get a docking mode, lock the SAS, go prograde, and I wonder if this will have enough. Need to set this to retro though, because it's going to be making re-entry on its own soon. I have to go back to that. Hopefully I can make this work. So that's about, it's getting close to a fifth. It's gaining at least a few meters per second in velocity. I need to point this more like up here probably. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to rebuild this probably, I don't know. It's not looking too good, folks. Not looking too good. I don't think it's gonna have enough monopropellant to make orbit. This is very Might just make the payload smaller, use a smaller passenger module, I guess, maybe. That might add a little bit more delta V for the boost stage, the lift stage. I don't know. Really don't know. It's about to make re-entry. What about you, though? How are you looking? Are you gonna make orbit? Doesn't look like it's gonna make orbit. Try to very quickly burn through all the monopropellant just to see what it looks like. Need to make sure you're still locked to retro. And well, okay. Well, let's get a beat on this. It almost made it halfway to orbit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to completely redo this vessel. This is hard. But now we can at least test this and see how we're looking as far as re-entry and recovery goes. It's gonna land in the ocean. Ew. try to get down lower into the atmosphere here. There we go, now we got the burn. This might help a little bit. I just want it to be able to make it back. It's losing signal. Uh-oh. I think it's gonna be bad news bears. We're about to lose something. Ouch. There goes air brakes and probably our aerodynamic fins. It's a good thing that engine is still on, at least. Oh, there it goes. Time for some fireworks. Can we still pull this off, though? Are we going to have communication ability to even attempt to pull this off after it's done through the plasma blackout? As long as we're just losing the fins, I think we'll be in business. You know what? Let's just get through the burn. And then take it from there. Well, that's all the fuel. We're not going to have that now. I don't want to activate the air brakes yet. I want to get a little more through this. Try to, at least. I'm glad to have communication ability back, at least. That's good. Once we get down to a few hundred meters per second, I'll activate those air brakes and see what happens. Alright, let's do it. Is this going to cooperate? Let's activate the drogues then. See what happens now. Can we reorient to the retrograde? Come on, I believe in you. Okay, we're going to have to go a little lower then. There it goes. Hey, that's a good sign. All we lost was the fins, so it's a good start. As long as we don't lose the air brakes or anything else on re-entry like that. That was a crazy re-entry. Oh, here we go. Alright, he's going to lower us down. That looks good. The other parachute should definitely be enough then. I'm going to wait until it's real low. It's like probably 500 meters in altitude before I deploy those. Let's see. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, let's activate those. 3.2 meters per second. Yeah, that's certainly plenty. Let's deactivate the SAS and just let it do its own thing now. That way it's a little more balanced, because you're moving down to 3.2 meters per second. It's going to wobble and bobble all over the place. Only concern is if it flips over. So as soon as it touches down, I'm going to try to recover it immediately. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And recovered. Fully recovered, except for the fins. That's good. Still not entirely safe. Once it has a Kerbal on board, though, it should be able to maintain retro lock through the atmospheric re-entry. So now we just need to deal with getting the module into orbit. It still has to be able to make orbit. Speaking of, I wonder if that module's done making orbit, or re-entry. Yeah, it's gone. That thing is toast. Alright, let's leave the tracking station and try to revamp this launch stage a little bit. It's unfortunate, but I might actually have to add a secondary stage for end vacuum. I mean, it's not going to be an SSTO if I do that, though, and I don't like that. I want it to be an SSTO. I want it to be an SSTO. Alright, could do this the fun way. I don't know about like re-entry and being able to make it back or not if I do this, but let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of these. Get rid of these. Get rid of these. And we're gonna get very Kerbal now. I'm gonna grab, let's see where they at. Where are they at? The FLT 800s. I'm gonna grab some of these. Put them there. Radio for those. You know what? I can add landing gear now if I do it this way. Let's place these up just a wee bit higher. Say about there. And then put another set of them here. It's still too high, I think. Let's move these up. I'll put them about here. I can do what I'm aiming to do. Let's get some nose cones and put those on there like so. Strut them up. I like them to look pretty. And I'm gonna clip this in just once. Maybe twice. Twice should be good. And put some swivels on it. Now we're gonna be playing with fire. Where do swivels go? There they are. Now we're playing with fire, or power, or whatever you want to. The old Nintendo motto, now you're playing with power. That adds a little bit more delta V. How much though? Let's take those off. That actually doesn't add a whole lot. That's unfortunate. You know what? I think I know what can add more delta V instead of using those swivels. Let's put some skiffs on there. Those are great for in atmosphere. Yeah, let's put those on there. See what that gives us. Still not much. But you know what? They can push 240. Right now, that's how much do they weigh? Like 1 ton? Yeah, 1 ton. And that puts that up to 9, so 10 tons. We can put a lot more fuel on than this. Let's do it. Let's take those off, put these on. I think the parachutes that we have on should be able to compensate for the added weight right now, and plus once these are dry it's not going to be that bad. 3721, that's a little bit more delta V and may be able to pull it off. I'm going to keep trying until I get it to work. This is going to be a single stage to orbit, and it is going to be recoverable. We are going to make it happen. Why did that? Let's try it again, shall we? Alright, clip it in from here. That's better. How we looking down here? Y'all touching the tips? You can't touch the tips. Don't touch the tips. Alright, can I put landing gear on it now? Maybe? Yay. Hey, we might be able to make this work. As long as they don't burn up in re-entry. Let's place them down about there. Clip them on in just a wee bit here. Deploy shielded. Can't even hardly notice they're there, to be honest. You know, that's fine. Alright, need these down here. Let's add some fins. Are the basic fins still going to be enough? No, they are not. However, I can just double up on them. I can go 1 space over, place them there, copy, 1 space over, put them there. Now it should be okay. Those are still going to burn up probably. I don't know. I'm really concerned about the re-entry, the way that this is set up. Kraken is just grinning at me right now, and it's very menacing. We need to put some air brakes back on here, and I'm going to put them here. Hey, that's helping with the aerodynamics. I'm going to put them here, and I'm also going to put some more down here, like right here. That should be good. That's hurting our delta V though. Let's get rid of those. Those are the ones that we really need though, right? So I'm just going to place those there and then get rid of these. That should be good. Delta V's a little better still. I shouldn't need to add fuel lines. That should be fine. Looks like everything else is good to go. Just need to get those launch stability enhancers back on here. Gonna do one more test before cutting this. Hopefully the test is successful and we have a module in orbit at the end of this. And then the re-entry and landing Hopefully that goes well. Alright, so everything is looking good. Let's make sure there are no Kerbals on board, because they like to sneak on. Alright, let's give this another shot. Oh, the Delta V for the skiffs. That's, it's gonna be a big deal. That's, gonna change once we're out of the lower atmosphere. I can't remember what the, kilonewton of thrust output is on the skiffs once they're in a vacuum, though. KSP, skiff engine. Let me see something real quick before I launch, because I might turn off the Turbodyne engine and then leave it to those 4 engines once it's time to do some vacuum action. They push 300 kilonewtons of thrust in a vacuum, so that's 1200 kilonewtons of thrust in a vacuum total. I'm gonna cut that engine off once it reaches a certain point and let those take over, because they are more fuel efficient, I think. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Just don't crack it, please. Don't crack it. Look at that thrust to weight. Yikes, that's a lot of thrust to weight. It's gonna punch us straight out of the lower atmosphere. To where I can shut that engine down at a certain point. This time I'm gonna go towards the 60 like I was supposed to do the first time. That way it's going up and diagonal, not down towards the southern hemisphere. Let's go ahead and start, oh yeah, this way this time, derp. Let's go ahead and get you over. It's moving quick. It is moving quick. Let's get you a little more sideways, buddy. Start feeling a burn. Get to that 60, come on. There you are. Alright, let's track it. See how it goes. What's our Delta V looking like? You're still... Yeah, okay, now it's going the right way. That's the way I want it to go. That's the way, I like it. Now, big question time. Is it going to be able to make, yeah, it might be able to make orbit on its own. I'm digging this. Alright, let's, it's almost time to go sideways, isn't it? Let's cut those engines. And let's get the RCS on. Just to get a little assistance here. Is this burning? Okay, no, it's not burning. Let's not deploy the fairings yet, just in case. Once I get this where it needs to be, we'll take it from there. Big question is, do I even need to shut that engine off? I'm thinking I do. But once I do, I need to deploy that. Now let's see how this goes. It's moving, that's for sure. It is definitely moving. I think it's got just enough thrustability. How much does it weigh now? Oh, it's just under 70 tons almost. Yeah, those skiffs are totally taken over. I can use the main central engine to do the re-entry. This is so questionable still. I think once it's down to about 500 meters per second, I'm going to kill the engine. And then go to the apoapsis that it is currently pushing ahead of itself now. It's getting very close to orbital velocity. It might just have enough to make it. Alright, let's cut that and let's get ourselves to that apoapsis. 62, not bad. Not bad. Fingers crossed. It should barely have enough to make orbit. I can set it up for a nice re-entry trajectory, decouple that, and then let it take over from there. Let's go ahead and get that deployed. Or the solar panels deployed. How close are we to that apoapsis now? Like 15, 20 seconds? Yeah. Throttle up just a hair. Let's get that resource menu open. I want to go ahead and get this done. I want to see if we can do this. Well, it's already close enough now. Alright, let's do this. How are we looking? Get this down to about 35. There we go. And we have 192 meters per second left. Not bad. Alright. Need to get this done. Let's get this done quick. Let's get this deployed. Decouple. Groovy. Alright, now let's go to docking mode. How much is it going to take to make orbit though? How's that looking? 92 by 100. You know what? I'll take it. That's perfect. Alright, so now we have that in orbit. There's our first module for the station. Now we just need to land the other side. Gonna switch back to it. Fantastic. Now, are you going to be able to land? Show me what you got. Where's it gonna make re-entry then? It's gonna be on the dark side. I don't like that. Let's see what we can do to make this a little better. Might have just enough delta V to get it at the cusp of orbit and be able to descend on the day side, which would be quite nice. Yeah, I can deorbit this thing after it makes orbit. There's plenty of delta V left to do that. Let's go around to, I want to say probably over here. Now we can check the communication ability of both of these. See how that looks. How's it still connecting to other ground stations when it's not supposed to be? Wait a minute. Is it though? Let me make sure those are turned off. Yeah, the ground stations are off. I don't know what it's connecting to then. It's a bit unusual. See, it's still connecting to the extra ground stations. Is it? Are those the extra ground stations? I don't know. Looks like it's directly connecting to the KSC, and well, I don't know. This is weird. It's connecting to the extra ground stations, even though I have it turned off. Why? Let's go into settings, turn it off, or turn it on, then turn it back off, and see if that does it. Enable comm network. Maybe, I don't know why it's doing that. and turn it back off. It's still doing it. I don't know why it's doing that. But I need to set myself up to land over there. Might end up being a splashdown. I certainly hope not. But it is all well. Let's try, say, I'm about there, about the apoapsis. From there I should be able to get it down the way I want it to. Retro. It's got how much delta V? 163. See where that puts us at once we're at 70. That should be enough to deorbit it. Alright, now it's time to definitely punch it. Oh no. Okay, whew, that was close. I did not mean to be in staging mode. Am I going to make re-entry? Yeah, I'm gonna land on land 2. That's what I want to see. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Tell you what else will help is if I put it in surface mode. Herder. Let's get moving. Only got a couple minutes to do this. It's almost time to watch that launch. Provided the launch is still on. Hopefully it is. Hopefully the weather is cooperating. We're gonna be nice and close to the KSP. I think we're like almost right over top of it now. Starting to feel the burn. Are we going to maintain communication ability though? Even like this. Got a relay right up over top of us. A relay station module. If it can maintain communication ability through re-entry, that's going to be awesome. That plasma blackout might not be an issue thanks to the relay right above us and the KSP right below us. Ha ha ha. Slick, right? Provided it doesn't explode or anything on re-entry. Just going to take it nice and smooth. I don't care if it takes an extra minute or two. Got about 15 to 20 minutes to spare here, or wait, no, it's at like 32 after or something, so there's almost a half hour, but I want to get like my little snack tray out and take a little smoke break and grab a drink, all that good stuff, and watch it. America. Launch America. Alright, we're starting to lose communication ability. I wish it had a gauge to like show you just how much of that plasma effect it's having on it, yeah. Oh well. Oh, that central engine is overheating a little bit there. You can do it, I believe in you. You can. Oh boy, there are the other ones now. Come on, push through it. Push through it. I believe in you. Of course, it's gonna lose control and bobble all the way down. But I have faith. Uh-oh. Oh boy, one of those is really overheating now. Hey, it's starting to go down now. And that's why. We're gonna lose those fins, I know that for sure. Ain't lost nothing yet though. I'm just saying. How's this gonna go? Those G-forces. Starting to lose some speed pretty good there. We ain't even lost those fins yet. This is going better than the last time. Hopefully the parachutes will still land though. Are we gonna still land over land? I really hope so. Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be over land. Just don't land in the mountains, please. Please don't land in the mountains. Hey, we have control back. Alright, it's a little dark. It's getting dark and my battery is low. Couple hundred more meters per second. Then I'll deploy the air brakes. See what happens. Come on. We are going to clear the mountains, right? That's a concern. Yeah. Yeah. This is looking good. Alright, let's deploy those air brakes. And deploy the trucks. Flippity flippity flop. We need the bottom on the top. Wait, I got that backwards. We need the fire end down. Come on. You know what? I better deploy these two. Yeah, now we're talking. Yeah. Alright. So far so good. Is that still gonna drop it down close to 20 meters per second? Yeah. Alright. Let's turn that SAS off. Let's deploy the landing gear. Should be okay. Look at that. Fantastic. Alright, now let's get you down to the ground. Let's see how this goes. Looks like a nice flat spot. Nice flat surface. Are those good? Yes, they are. Fantastic. Now, you just need to land, and we're gonna be good. I should probably activate the SAS. That way it maintains stability once it lands. Plenty of RCS to do it with. That RCS did survive, right? Did I put RCS on the bottom? I forgot to put those back on. Well, at least it has topside RCS. I think that's what's more important. Let's get control of the time warping back. Still coming down at 3.8 meters per second with a nice solid lock. No wobble and bobble action going on here. Looking good. I think we have our first successful SSTO deployment for the station in an eccentric orbit. This is fantastic. Alright, let's turn that time warp off. Come on, baby. Just land. Just land. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Yeah! Success. Recover. We did it. Didn't even lose the fins, lost nothing on the launch stage, everything was perfect. It is safe, and it is successful. Alright, so that's it for this one. I'm gonna get off here and get ready to launch, or watch this launch. I hope everybody else is preparing to watch it too. One down, minute to go. Good start, good start. Let's do the quick save. Let's do the main save. And I'm out, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Glad I got it within that hour almost. Perfect start, man. Perfect start. Fantastic. Very groovy. Alright. Just in case, I'm going to update that quick save one more time. And good luck, SpaceX. Good luck, NASA. I'll see y'all here shortly. Thanks for watching. Peace out.